There's a way to build that is sacred, a way to craft business as architecture, not hustle, not performance, and not transaction. A way to create vessels that are so structurally aligned they carry frequency long after you've stepped away. But this kind of building requires discipline, not just of action, but of energy. Because once you begin to build from coherence, you become responsible for the field your structure creates. And if you allow distortion to enter it, you corrupt the very thing you were meant to steward. This episode is not about business strategy, it's about energetic governance. Because business, at its highest, is not a game, it is a field. And that field must be protected with the same precision you would protect a sacred site, not from enemies but from parasites, from the unseen opportunist, from the smiling technician, from the capable executor whose competence masks incoherence. They're not bad people, they're just misaligned frequencies. And when you build with them, they do not simply slow you down, they contaminate your structure. I once entered a creative alliance with someone who appeared aligned. They said all the right things, they understood the vision, they carried the skill, and for a time they were useful and appeared cooperative. But usefulness is not coherence, and eventually people unravel themselves and the cracks appear. Subtle withholding, reluctance to take responsibility, an inability to hold the frequency and the structure that was required. And the more I tried to translate it, the more I polluted the field because I was bending my architecture to accommodate someone who could not carry the same weight. Not because they were weak, but because they were not built for it. In sacred business, you don't hire skill, you invite signal. And when the signal is off, you don't negotiate. You don't try to teach resonance. You don't coach them into alignment. You terminate. Not out of rage, out of integrity. Because the longer you tolerate distortion, the more you teach your field that safety can be compromised for performance. And once that pattern embeds itself into your architecture, you will begin to erode from within. I ended that alliance and I learned some massive lessons from it. I ended it cleanly, without rage, without drama. Just a gate closed with quiet precision. And the moment the gate closed, the field breathed again. Because business is not built on how hard people work, it is built on the frequency they carry. And when someone's presence causes distortion in your field, no matter how useful they are, they're no longer safe to build with. Here's what most people don't understand. You cannot teach coherence, you can only model it. And the people who are meant to walk beside you will either rise into resonance or fall away. But if you keep reaching down, if you keep explaining, if you keep allowing just one more breach because they didn't mean to, or they say pretty words behind the mask that covers a lack of integrity, you are not noble, you're polluting your own work. The sovereign man does not allow parasites into his structures, and if one is discovered, he does not collapse into emotional closure. He ends it fully, quietly, and without residual threads. Because distortion, once tolerated, will always ask for more distortion. This isn't about perfection. Everyone has edges. Everyone is becoming. But when someone shows up with hidden contracts, subtle games, emotional manipulation masked as helpfulness, you feel it. Not in your logic, in your gut, in your field. And when you feel it, you must trust it. Even if the optics are good, even if the public face is polished, even if they helped you build something useful, because energy doesn't lie. And once you're coherent, neither can you. I have no animosity toward those I've had to remove or the spaces that I've voluntarily left. I don't speak ill of them. I don't leak signal by retelling stories, but I remember, not as a wound, as a lesson. And the lesson is this: never allow usefulness or charisma to override alignment. Never let fear of doing it alone cause you to keep someone who cannot hold the structure. And never confuse silence for coherence. Some people are quiet because they're calculating. And when that silence finally reveals itself as subtle sabotage, it's already too late, unless you act. Leadership in business is not about how many people you carry. It's about how clearly you can see what no longer belongs. And the moment something becomes incoherent, you must respond, not with emotion, with structure. You end the contract, you revoke access, you leave the building, you walk away without explanation. Because the field already knows. And when you act in alignment with that knowing, your architecture tightens, your signal sharpens, and your structure stabilizes. I've walked through projects that collapsed because I didn't act quickly enough, because I gave the benefit of the doubt, because I tried to uplift someone who was never meant to carry weight beside me. And I've paid for it energetically, financially, relationally, but never again, because now I understand. Sacred business is not built on tolerance, it is built on trust. And trust without coherence is a myth. It's a lie. So if you're listening to this and you know there's someone in your business, your team, your field, your core structure who is leaking energy, polluting signal, corrupting the architecture you've worked so hard to build, end it. Quietly, cleanly, now. Don't wait for collapse. Don't wait for proof. Don't wait for betrayal so large you can justify your withdrawal. Withdraw because you know, and that knowing is enough. The sovereign man protects the field, not through control, but through clarity. He does not explain, he does not accuse, he doesn't make it personal. He simply walks them to the gate, closes it, and seals the field behind him. And when he turns back to the structure, the signal is clearer, the rhythm returns, the architecture stabilizes, because there's no longer distortion in the walls. And that is the true currency of sacred business. Not scale, not visibility, not hype, but signal integrity. And once you learn to guard that, everything you build becomes indestructible. Welcome to The Architect Speaks.